Hi guys, and welcome back to Love English. I'm Leila, and today I want to help you have an amazing conversation in English. Now, this is not about grammar or topics that you should be having conversations about, but rather it is the language that we use all the time, that native people use all the time when they are having a conversation with each other. I'm going to be looking at 10 idiomatic expressions we commonly use when we are having general conversations. In the same way that we would use proverbs in English to help explain maybe more deeper meanings in conversation, we would use idiomatic expressions to speak more naturally, to speak a little bit faster. Sometimes you can use an idiom and it kind of makes everything more concise. And of course, some expressions actually help soften your language, meaning you're not going to sound too rude or direct in asking particular questions or giving instructions to someone. Before we get started, do make sure that you click that subscribe button and of course the notifications bell until it looks like this. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So, on with the lesson, 10 idiomatic expressions for an amazing English conversation. Expression number 1, to cut to the chase. Cut to the chase. To talk about the most interesting, most important or relevant part of the conversation, of the topic, and not waste time giving too much detail with things that really aren't very important. I didn't have much time to talk, so I cut to the chase and asked for his help. Number 2, to make a long story short. Very similar to cut to the chase, but it's more about giving factual information and again, leaving out the detail that might not be as relevant or interesting to the main point. You're essentially giving the conclusion of a story rather than telling the whole story itself. And it means that you're not really going through a long narration and boring someone. So to make a long story short, I got the job. Now, if you want somebody to get to the point, if you want them to explain something or to ask a question that you know they want to but might be scared to do, you could say, don't beat around the bush, don't beat around the bush, or I won't beat around the bush if it's you saying something. So when you beat around the bush, you are essentially avoiding talking about what is the most important thing. This might be because it's a sensitive issue, you might feel it's a little bit difficult and you're not sure how to approach the situation, the conversation with someone. But when you say, come on, don't beat around the bush, or you know what, I won't beat around the bush, you're saying you don't want to talk about the things that aren't important and you'd rather talk about the main issues. Don't beat around the bush, get to the point. Do you want to come out tonight or not? Number 4, spit it out. Now, spit is not a very nice action. It's to expel water from your mouth, saliva, so spitting. But it essentially means to spit it out. You're telling someone, come on, I know you want to say something, so say it. It's when you're feeling frustrated and you want them to say the thing that's on their mind. And it might be that they're unwilling to speak or speaking really slowly. So you would say, come on, spit it out. What happened? So say it. Tell me what you are thinking. Now, number 5 is a great expression when you are talking about something that you might not be sure about the outcome or the final situation. If you tell someone things are a bit up in the air at the moment, then you're explaining that you don't really know what's happening. Things haven't been planned or things haven't been secured and dates haven't been set. So for example, if you've sold your house and your friends ask you, how's it going? Are you moving soon? And you don't have a date yet and you're still waiting for things to progress, then you might say, really don't know, it's all a bit up in the air at the moment. So essentially you haven't fixed plans or made important decisions just yet. It's all a bit up in the air. Now, number 6 is a really useful expression especially if you can't remember a word or worse, a person's name. It's on the tip of my tongue. What's that word? What's his name? Oh, it begins with an S. Sam, Smith, Simon, Scott. So when something is on the tip of your tongue, it means there's a word or a name or the name of a place, and you can nearly remember it, but it's there, it's on the tip of my tongue. What's the name of that film with Hugh Grant and Julia Roberts? It's on the tip of my tongue. Notting Hill. Number 7 is a wonderful expression that we use regularly in English. To pull someone's leg. If someone is pulling your leg and you say, "Come on, are you pulling my leg?" Or if someone says to you, "Just pulling your leg." So you would use this expression when you're trying to tell someone something is true and it's actually not true. You're basically having a joke. "I had tea with the Queen last weekend." No, really, you're pulling my leg. You didn't have tea with the Queen. Did you? No, I'm pulling your leg. Remember, it's only one leg, not legs. Number 7 is a lovely expression when you are talking about something that was perhaps a negative thing, something negative that happened to you, but actually the outcome was positive. It was just hard to see at the time. We'd say it was a blessing in disguise. It was a blessing in disguise. For example, if you were fired, sacked from your job, and then 2 weeks later, you were offered a better job with more money, you would say, well, getting fired was a blessing in disguise. Something good and positive that came from something quite negative. Number 8, easier said than done. This is a very simple expression when someone gives you some advice and actually the advice sounds really good, but doing it, actually committing yourself to the action, to doing this thing, is a lot harder than perhaps it sounds. "Oh, come on, just quit smoking." Easier said than done. Number 9 is a great expression, but it might not sound very nice. To kill 2 birds with 1 stone. It's an expression that I love to use, and I frequently do use it because I love to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Now, this is not literally killing birds, that's not very nice, but it means to achieve 2 things with 1 action. For example, why don't you go to the bank on the way to the supermarket? Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Often we do shorten this down to 2 birds with 1 stone. People generally understand what you're talking about. Number 10 is an expression that I'm sure you all know. It's not my cup of tea. Again, this is an expression that we would use to soften our language. Rather than say, "I don't like it," or "I don't like him," we'd say, "Not my cup of tea. He's not my cup of tea." It just sounds a lot more polite, and it is such a British idiomatic expression that you will regularly hear people using it. After all, we love to be polite in the UK. So have a go. Try using just one of those expressions a day in your conversation with a native speaker or with friends, of course. So make sure you let me know which of those expressions are new for you. Can you try and put them into a context that is personal to you? Explain to me a word that was on the tip of your tongue recently, or a time where you killed 2 birds with 1 stone. Comment below and let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, you can watch some of these lessons to help you with your English conversation as well. Bye.